Hello, welcome to Mastering Power Query video series. This is video number 21 where we're going to talk about combining queries. Now, in this video, we will understand the difference between appending and combining queries. Without much ado, let's get into the Power Query editor, load the data sets, and let's start exploring about these differences. All right, so now we are in a blank Excel to start the process. But before we go ahead and start the process, let's try to understand the difference between appending queries and combining queries. See, appending queries is something which you will be thinking about when you are taking multiple sheets of data and appending or stacking the data one below the other. Combining is also similar to that, but a thin difference is in this context. We want to make this process dynamic. Now, in case if you observed the appending queries video, when a new data set came in, we duplicated the existing data set and then we changed the data source and the navigation step, and then we came back and then we went into the appended queries and then we added the new data set. So every time when a new data set comes in, if you have gone for appending queries, you really have to go ahead and include the new data set manually. But if you have gone for combining queries, this is something you don't even have to do that. Once the data is combined and given to you, whenever the new data set comes in, all you have to do is simply refresh. The new data set is already in place. That means it is applicable for the person who would love to have this in a more automated and dynamic way. So the only thing which I have to take care here is the structure of the data again. If the data structure is exactly same what I'm dealing with, this is going to work beautifully. Else you might have to do a little bit of tweaking with the help of the mashup language, which we'll be seeing it very shortly. But yes, in this video we're going to consider, or we're going to assume that the data sets are exactly the same. The data structures are same, the headers are same, so there's no changes anywhere. All right, so now how this process becomes exactly dynamic or automated, this is generally meant for that. See, there will be a folder where I might put the files, and whenever I put the files, new files into that folder, it should be collated or appended or stacked up and given to me as one data set. So like the same example what we took for the last video, I have splitted those into individual files. And let's take this situation that my team is telling me that the quarterly data will be loaded in a folder. Let's say in this case we have quarter reports, and inside this they will keep loading the data. So I don't have the control over the file names. I don't have the control over how many files are going to come in, but as and when they load the data, the final table should have the new data also inside. So we want to do the same appending process, but the source here is not the individual sheets of a file, the folder itself. Okay, so whatever comes inside the folder, it has to be taken up. Okay, so if you want to have something like that, folder approach is a better one. So the dedicated folder I have for my case is the quarter reports, where these guys have these data, and they're saying that when we put the new file inside, it should be automatically appended. So to get that understanding straight, I have Q4 data outside the folder as of now, but we'll finish the task with these three, and then once we load the Q4, and when we come back to the Power Query, we want to see whether the magic is happening or not. So let's go ahead and load these guys into the Power Query editor, and let's check out how this is going to work out. So I'm going to just take this path quickly, copy that so that it will simplify the work for us. So we're going to go to the Excel screen. We are in the Excel screen right now. Let's go ahead and launch the Power Query editor. So we go to the data, get data, and I go to the launch Power Query editor. So we are on the Power Query editor window, and in the Power Query editor, in the home tab, we go to the last one where it says new source, and let's go to the file, and it's not the Excel file this time. It's going to be the folder, because I want to make sure that whatever comes inside the folders are getting appended automatically. So we're going to go for the choice folder, and it's going to ask us the path for it. So I'm going to just paste the path which we copied, and this is the path. I'm going to just say open. and it's going to connect to that folder. And look at the change now. The navigation dialog box got changed, so it's quite different right now. So what you see right now is binary, binary, binary. These are nothing but the file names. So the extensions all are given to you here. So make sure that one more additional thing which you have to take care when you're going to connect to a folder, that the folder contains only the same type of file types. So if you're combining Excel files, make sure the folder contains only the Excel files, not a PDF or a doc inside, so which you should avoid. Make sure that you follow that discipline, then the Power Query really gives you what you're really looking for. So I have 3 Excel files and everything in place. I am going to go to the bottom of it. Now this time, combine and transform. So I'm going to go for the choice transform data, because I want to show you something here. So when you go for transform, the reason why I went through that method, you can even deselect any files in case if you don't want to have that particular file in the process, so which you can do it over here. Okay, and you can skip by a date, you can skip by the file name, all are possible. Absolutely agreed here. Even you can even skip by the extensions in case if you want to go by the extension. So let's say you're not listening to the rules and regulations, you do have other file types inside the folder. You want to make sure you want to take only those specific files only, then you can even choose by extensions. Okay, where you got to focus is on the content column, the first column, where you can see the 2 downward focusing arrows. Just click on it and wait for the magic to happen. It's going to take you to this particular window where you have to focus on few things here. The first one on the top left corner, where it shows you sample file, where it says first file, which is nothing but in your folder, the first file will be taken as a reference file. Now this is quite interesting stuff, because when you did the appending queries, you have to individually do the transformation for each data set. But while you do combining queries, whatever transformation you're going to do in the first file, which is precisely the Q1 data, for rest of the files inside that folder, those transformations will be done automatically. So that means you're going to save a hell of a lot of time. You do not have to get into each data set and perform the transformation. So that's what this first file means. And secondly, the first file will be treated as the reference file for the entire process. So whatever you do on this file, our query understands that this is what you want to perform in the other rest of the files also. So that's what it's going to assume it. Okay, now in the first file, and I'm going to select the sheet 1. So this is what is going to happen in the rest of the file also. So in the rest of the file also, it will look for the sheet 1. So which is very important to keep it in mind. So in the other file also, you should have the data in the sheet where the sheet name is sheet 1. If it is not there, then we will have a problem, which you can still manage it with the help of little bit tweaking of M language, which we'll see shortly in the coming up videos. But right now, we assume that every file, the data is there in the sheet and the sheet name is sheet 1. So we select that, we go to the bottom corner, right hand bottom side, we're going to click OK, and that's going to take us to a different screen. Watch it. Now look at the left side on the queries pane, you got a lot of things here. Okay. Now remember I told you the transform file, the first file, remember the first file you said, this is where that first file data is going to be. So what you see in the transform sample file is nothing but the data which belongs to the first file in the folder. So anything you want to do, you literally have to do it here, and rest will be done on the rest of the file. So we're going to go to the transform sample file and we're going to do the transformations here. So we're going to go here. We are perfectly fine with up to this point. So we're going to go for split column by delimiter. But before I go ahead and do that, I just want to show you that. See here, keep looking at, we don't have the proper data yet in this particular place. But once I complete the transformation here, all the magic is going to happen over here. So let's go to the transform sample file. And let's click on the split column by delimiter, and the delimiter dialog box is going to pop up where my delimiter is comma. I'm perfectly fine. I'm going to click OK, and I'm going to go to the right side, get rid of the change type, because we're going to go ahead and say use first row as header, and followed by the change type is perfectly fine. So this all the three steps we need to happen in the rest of the files inside the folder, which is Q2 and Q3. And remember, you have done it in the transform sample file, but we need to check out here in the final. But you can see an exclamation mark which says that there is some issue. So let's go there. And the problem happened is because of our hero, the change type. So I'm going to get rid of the change type and watch it. It has done for all the data sets, all the three data sets, that steps whatever we did in the transform sample file. So if you want to check here, you can see the first column is source name. If I click, it has done it for all the 3/4 of data. So the column which you see, the first one, if you want, you can have it. If you do not want, you can actually get rid of it. But for the learning purpose, I want to keep this column to show you that we got the transformation done for the rest of the three files. Everything is beautifully done and it is given for you. And I'm going to load this to my Excel. So watch it. Close and load to. And remember that when you go for close and load to, I told you in the last video, when you do appending or combining, make sure you always choose only create connection. Later you can decide which one you want to load it as what type. So now we got them as connections only. Which one I have to load actually is the quarter reports. So I'm going to collapse this area. So don't have to worry about this guy. We need to worry about this one. So right click on this and I'm going to say load to. And this one I'm going to say, why don't you put this as a table? Because I know it is just 300 rows of data put together. So I'm okay to get the data in the place where it is pointing out right now. I'm going to click OK. And let's see on the right side at 300 rows of data. So Q1, Q2, Q3, all the three files of data are being transformed and brought to you. Remember, the best thing, you didn't do the transformation for individual data sets. It's been done once in the transform sample file and it is taken care. Now, the last part of the video. If I get the Q4 data inside that folder, when I come back here, if I refresh, if I could see that magic happens, then amazing. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to go to the location and let's get this Q4 data into the quarter reports. So let's drag and drop this. So now Q4 is inside. You can see that. I'm going to come back to my Excel and I'm going to right click and refresh it and give it a moment. Look at the right side. The 100 rows of data of Q4 is brought into the picture. I'm going to click here and there we have Q4. That's quite amazing, isn't it? So that is what combining queries can do, which is much more elegant and much more sophisticated compared to the appending queries. So appending queries is something which you have to think about, that whether your requirement would need the transformations in each data set individually, because you don't have the control over it. So that time appending is better choice. But let's say if it's the exact same structure data, as and when the data comes in, I just want to put it in one place and the stacking up or the collation should happen automatically, then think about having them in one dedicated folder and go for the choice of combining queries, which you get it when your data source is not individual file. The data source should be a folder. Yeah. All right. So we'll meet up again with another interesting input in the Power Query world. Until then, take care of yourself. Signing off, Hariharan.